So this is there are a lot of caterpillars, particularly in the families Paralidae and Tortricidae and Crambidae and various other families that make these shelters where they're cut and roll tight leaf rolls, and typically they are filled with frass, with the caterpillar feces, so they don't have an adaptation to get the frass away from them, and typically they're really good food for birds and insect predators. And this one, they also then make a pupa inside of their little house. So this one is about ready to do that. So it's in here making it's pupating.
Kay taga Tasa Kuru ni manoy. Tasa Kuru. Si Tasa Kuru kapay ka. Kay ganya mana sinya may mas ichuk sagara pay mikus ka taga nya chileita. Si Tasa Kuru kanya chile. Chiga chas na kanya mana nya may mas ichu na shukma. Shukma ichuk pega aruna musiang gauna ni sagara pay ima mikus kata. Chas na ni nya chi pay ihpas kata chi pay mikus ka pangalyam mai to saga chileita chura gagaska. Chiga aruna kanya gaska na imagine ta chiwasi pega irusas na mana pasia ibaganya sinya gaska. Chiga mana nyuko kimian kaga chiga ali tan tiangi wauki ni jampa sia puyo kan ni si kuinta gagas chiga pai bo kimian kaga pasia gagas chiga pai ga chi irus asnak pis kai ismu tas miku gasya pai ga mana musi gas kimian kaga ali ta tiang ko ki ga ni gas kai chi Tasa Kuru taga chiga pasia gas kai pasia pero shuguruna guna ga chiga mana muna gas ka na ya piri dasnak tia ga ni sha chasa si Tasa Kuru nishkaga chasna paiganya ismandi kuna bas pangai biga tiagang ni gaga noe. Tasa Kuru shina mana picha shatiana ta yaringi. Kaita gawari migali chiri shatiana ni she. Pinya ga noe wataga.
Pairunas kai
chasa tiaga gaskai chasna shakuna bas chasna ta tianya Kuru to kunya.
wasi
Mana ali chiri.
Mana chiri ki chi warme o karimas.
Kari aska chasa heta mianka tapai ogi mianka pasi aska paiga nyuka ogi suma kausa ini gagas ke Tasa Kuru taga.
Chi.
Chega nyuka.
Mianka sina nika.
Mianka ga chasa ni gaska iruna sha pasi angari sha. Ya paiga mana musi gaska kya ko chasna ismu ak tuku ita paiga miku gasha tuku yasha mana musi gaska.
Ni mianka ira mikuka.
Nya mianka ga paiga nya ima tas miku gulang chasa sha paiga nya. Ali ta kausa nyuka ogi ni gaska. Chiga mana ali ta ogi ga chasa asna iri zatiagleta chasa ni gaska ya.
I mianka kai kura miku.
Paiga miku bile mo ninya chirai ko ta chasa ni gaska paiga nya.
I paiwa isma
Ismatas nya chileita chura gaska chiga nya iri zasnak pes paiga nya mana musia gaska.
Mianka mana musia.
Mana musion. Chirai ko mianka rai ko anyuka mundali tiag mani ni gaga nyuka.
In Quechua, this caterpillar is called Tasa Kuru. And according to Belgica, in beginning times when the animals were human, this caterpillar was a man who didn't keep his house clean. And his house was so messy with stuff and feces and old leaves and so on that nobody wanted to visit him. Because his house smelled and it's ugly, nobody would come. Except that he had one visitor, and that was the mianca, which is a certain kind of falcon, which also can feed on carrion. And he didn't even detect the messiness because the mianca always lives kind of in a mess and eats messy stuff. And so he would come to his house and say, "Brother, what a nice house you have. What a pretty house you have." Because the mianca would eat anything. And so that guy who was his brother, who he called brother, became the mianca falcon. And that man who lived in a messy house became this Tasa caterpillar, Tasa Kuru, it's called in Quechua.
It's very interesting, the story about this caterpillar, because the character in the story eats whatever. And that is actually pretty rare among caterpillars, that caterpillars typically are very specialized. They'll only eat one species of plant and sometimes only one part of the plant. A lot of these caterpillars in these families, Virality, Tortricity, Crambidae, that have these messy houses are generalists. They will eat anything. And you could put them in a bag and put some other thing in there, and they'll make a messy house out of that. So that was a great part of that story, that is something that naturalist ecologists always notice. If there's something that eats a bunch of different plants, it's very unusual and interesting.